Okay. Welcome back to Pick and Roll. I'm Jaxson.
I'm Jonathan.
Yeah, we're focused on talking all things NBA from stars of the past to whatever's going on in the NBA today. Um, yeah, I'm really excited. Today's this episode is our top 10 all time. Um, yeah, let's get right into it.
All right.
So I'll do my 10 first, and then after what I've done with my 10, we'll pass it on to my dad, and we'll do his 10, and so it'll be fun.
All right.
So,
Let's hear it.
okay. At number 10, I think Shaq. I mean, most dominant player of all time. Like, by far, to be honest, one of the greatest big men of all time. This absolute just monster, especially when he played for the Lakers and even the Magic. He was just like a monster, right? Um, really like he really changed the whole era of basketball. Like he had changed the way you had to like build your team.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't have a team without like two or three bigs just to foul Shaq, just to put him on the line because that's the only way you could really stop him. Even then, like he was still putting up like 30-10, like 30 and 10 a game. Like he was an animal. Like, you could not stop Shaq. My ninth pick. This one is a little debated. I don't know if everyone's gonna agree with this. I had Steph Curry. The greatest shooter of all time. In my eyes, the best point guard of all time. I think he, for sure, you can't even deny it, right? Like, he revolutionized the game of basketball. Kind of before Curry, it was, most of your shots came around the rim, and maybe around the rim, maybe you came shot a couple threes. The game today is mostly 3-point shots. You look at teams; they build teams with 3-and-D players. You want people who can shoot the three ball and it'll like lock the other end. And that one was all for Curry. Like Curry was really the one who put us to this modern era of basketball. And for that, like I have so much respect for him, and he just like really was. When you think of like these past 10 years of basketball, you think of Curry and LeBron James, like two players to think of, like top of your head. If you don't think of those two players, you don't watch enough basketball to really, to really like think about it enough, Number eight, I have Wilt Chamberlain.
Okay.
Great player. Some of his stuff, I'm not sure if it's true. I'm not sure if he put 100 points in the game. I mean, there's no footage of it. There's nothing of that, so don't know if it really happened or not. But I mean, I've heard accounts of him putting up 50 for a season and was it 25 rebounds? He should have won MVP. I don't know why Bill Russell won it, like, that year, which is kind of wild. I mean, Bill Russell, nowhere near the many points and only, like, not even as many rebounds, so, but, yeah, but at the end of the day, Bill Russell only won, like, one or two championships, like, for how good he's, like, looked on paper, it didn't really amount to anything, like, nothing really came about. So great player, but I just don't have him higher because his lack of success really holds back for me. Then right above him, I have Bill Russell. I feel like, again, most winningest player, probably in all of sports, to be honest. 11 rings. Who does that? Like, that's insane. Like, that's almost unfathomable how many, like, over a decade of championship rings. Like, I'm sure you've seen the images of him, like, holding it like this and on all of his fingers, like, that's insane.
Yeah.
But it was played in an era with players who weren't really like professional athletes. I don't know, like they really weren't. They didn't play basketball for like a majority of their lives, right?
Yeah.
This was a time, they say like the plumber farm eras or like firefighters because they didn't play with like if you
they had day jobs, yeah.
Yeah, day jobs. Like if you put Bill Russell in like modern era or in the like 90s or 80s, would he be as successful? I don't know. So I feel like that holds back just because of the era. But again, great player and by far one of the most winningest players of all time. Number 6, I have Larry Bird. I mean, just you hear like legendary stories of him trash talking of him being this like menace on the court and like. He for sure was like probably the first great 3-point shooter. Really showed about it, and he played against some fierce competition. Right, he played against Dr. J and again him up with Philly. He played against obviously Showtime Lakers, hard teams, and he still came out on top a couple of times. Like that's impressive for who he played against. Like his competition, right? Playing against Magic and Kareem on the same team, and I'm pretty sure Moses Malone and Dr. J, and him winning a couple of championships after that. Like that's impressive and hard to come out of. So yeah, I have him as number 6. Number 5, I have Magic Johnson right above him. Again, a little more winning. I do think Curry's the best point guard of all time. Magic Johnson's a better all-around player in my eyes. Again, him with Kareem, when Kareem, I think it was their first ring. I think Magic must have been a rookie at that time. I'm pretty sure. Kareem got injured in the play. I think it was either like conference finals or the finals. He got injured and couldn't play a little bit in the finals, and Magic Johnson stepped up and became that role and became the center for them for a little bit. And that's something like that's hard to do if you play point guard for like Magic was doing, and then you switch over to that. Like that's a little bit of hard change, a very big difference, right? And he still succeeded and came out on top and ended up winning the ring that year, right? Like that's impressive, hard to do. And again, just like his all around, like playing, and him and Larry Bird really brought the game back to life, right? Like kind of before that, the game was dying. No one was really caring about basketball. Those two brought like legit was like a kickstart. They brought the basketball back to life, and probably is the reason we watch NBA and we pay attention to all these things, right? Because of those two. But Magic Johnson just a little bit more of a winner, and he had help from Kareem, but at the end of the day, the accolades will show his awards of that. So my 4th pick, people usually have him higher, but this is just where I put him. I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. People say Kareem is arguably top 3 all time, right? Top 2 or 3. But honestly, I feel like he needed help to win some of these championships. He won as a sophomore, like second year, but he didn't win. I'm pretty sure he won with Oscar Robertson. I'm pretty sure he played with him. And then obviously didn't win without Magic. Obviously, great scorer all time. He had the record for a long time until LeBron James came in. But I just feel like Kareem, just him being so limited, and I feel like too, kind of towards the end of his career, he got a little more injury prone, and just couldn't be there all the time for his team. And also, I hear a lot of stories of how Kareem wasn't the nicest person outside of the court.
Yeah.
So
a lot of the superstars ended up being that way. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of one of the things. I've heard a lot of bad stories about that. So maybe I'm just a little biased, but yeah. My 3rd pick, again, people are gonna be a little surprised by this. People have him a lot lower, but I think this person really deserves his praise. It's Kobe Bryant. I think people have him like barely top 10, or maybe just inside top 10, or maybe a little higher, but I have him my number 3 spot. I think he's the 3rd best player to ever play basketball. I mean, he was basically like Jordan. He played in a little bit of a hard era. He was a way better, if you ask me, a way better 3-point shooter than Jordan was. Just as good defensive wise. If you ask me, he had the better mindset. Jordan, yeah, he was a very fierce competitor, but I feel like he also, like wanted to golf and have a little more fun. Kobe was like work. Like he treated it like legit. Like he always wanted to be better, and for that, like that mentality pushed him to be so much better. And everyone always says, if this player had the Mamba mentality, right? I mean, who had the Mamba mentality and who came out one of the greatest players of all time? Kobe Bryant did, right? Everyone says like, oh, what if Shaq had the Mamba mentality? What if Jokic had the Mamba mentality? Right? Kobe was the Mamba mentality. Like,
Yep.
So that like, and even then like, people say like he didn't win without Shaq. Yeah, he needed Shaq to win, but he also was like an 18-year-old kid, right, when he was winning those rings. And even then, after Shaq left, he stepped up to a leadership role. Yeah, he didn't really win without the help of, he didn't really win without help for a while. But in 2006, when he was by himself as like his number 2 option named Smush Parker, he's averaging like 36 a game, and like obviously put 81, like the 2nd most points in a game ever. Like it's just insane. Like it's just ridiculous. Like Kobe Bryant, I think, should be way higher on everyone's list. I mean, what like an inspiration to honestly a whole generation. I didn't really grow up watching him a whole lot as a kid, but kind of looking back, because I lived before I was born, hearing all these stories of Kobe just like torching the league and being on both sides of the court all the time, like constantly trying to get better. It's like it's so cool, and so inspiring. Um, and just like the amount of stories you hear of Kobe, like working just his butt off to try to be better is so just like crazy to me. Yeah, I have him at number 3. Okay, obviously now the next 2 picks, obviously undisputed, LeBron versus Jordan. This really is who's the greatest of all time, and it's really there's a debate. So I'll go to my number 2. I have LeBron James at number 2. So Jordan's number 1. LeBron, I mean, great player. I feel like if he's the greatest player, if you look at the stats only. But basketball is so much more than just the numbers. You gotta have the winning. You gotta have the mentality. I think it's a big key part of it. If you have someone who doesn't really want to win, I mean, are they really gonna try the hardest? Yeah, LeBron wants to win. I think that's his goal. But I remember, I think it was a couple years ago, he got knocked out of the playoff, and he says, at the end of the day, just basketball. Versus Kobe, when he was up like 2-0 in the series, he was like, what's there to be happy about? Job not finished yet, right? Kobe was like, so like he wasn't satisfied until the job was done. Versus LeBron was like, oh well, it's over next season. I mean, yeah, it's okay it's good to be able to move on healthily, but him being kind of okay with losing the series like that, that's just not the mentality and the leadership we need. You kind of got to say, hey, like we did good, we definitely tried our best, but we got to do better next time we get it right. Versus saying, oh well, it was always I feel like that mindset kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But yeah, again, LeBron's still one of the greatest players that touch a basketball. I feel like for sure what holds him back for me a little bit too is just his lack of accolades a little bit. Obviously, he's like 4-6 in the finals. To be fair, he did play against the Warriors with Kevin Durant, which that's a hard team to beat. Like no one was stopping them, no one in their right mind. So those ones are a little bit tough. But then again, with him on the Heat, with his super team losing to Dirk Nowitzki in 2011, like in embarrassing fashion, like that was like Jordan would not have done that. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, I'll go to my number 1 pick, Michael Jordan. Obviously, I mean, the greatest player to ever touch a basketball. 6-0, 3-peats, retires, comes back, 3-peats again. Was pretty good in Washington. People always talk about his years in Washington, but he wasn't as bad as people say he was. Obviously, he wasn't winning championships and wasn't really carrying his team to the playoffs like that, but he still did really good. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and it was back too for LeBron James. When he played in the Eastern Conference, it was called the Eastern Conference because of how weak it was. No one was really contending in the Eastern Conference except for like the Celtics at the time, right? Everyone else, it was the Celtics, and that was really it. When he played Miami, the Pacers were up coming for a little bit, but at the end of the day, the Heat were still the number 1. Celtics were like number 2. I do gotta say though, the hardest opponents goes to LeBron. LeBron definitely had far more competition in the finals.
Yeah.
Even like, honestly, I remember kind of doing some research for this episode and kind of on my own time, look at like the 2016 finals, like the stats of that, and like that Game 7 was just iconic. Like the last like 5 minutes of it are just like so exhilarating and like fun to watch. Like LeBron's iconic chase on block, like Kyrie's shot, like it's iconic. But I guess too, another thing that holds it back, kind of on that note, what holds LeBron back for me too from not being number 1 is just all the help he got. Jordan obviously had Pippen and Dennis Rodman, but outside of that, he really was like the team leader, and it wasn't really Scottie Pippen's team. It was ever like really a debate. It was always Jordan's team. Jordan was the leader. Scottie Pippen was the Robin to his Batman. Dennis Rodman was just kind of like the third wheel to that, versus we had LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh on the same team, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, and then you put Anthony Davis, right, and that really good team when they won the championship with the Lakers. So yeah, LeBron, great player of all time, really, truly is one of the greatest players of touch basketball, not the greatest. That has to go to Jordan to me. But that's my list. I like LeBron, but I wish he could have won a little more. I had a little more show for it, But, yeah.
All right, it's a good list, and I think most people, when they sat down and tried to put together a top 10 all-time NBA list, I think most of them would be the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the order that they go in, I think, is
Yeah.
where the debate comes in, and that's really hard to do. And in a lot of ways, that's splitting hairs. Eras are different, positions are different. I forget which NBA player said it, but they asked about the debate who's the greatest of all time, and they said, why do they only ask this in basketball? Like, you never hear them ask who's the greatest football player of all time, because you have a quarterback so much different than a linebacker. They're so different.
Yeah.
And even though basketball is a little closer related, the positions are more closely related than the specialized positions in football. They're still, comparing a shooting guard in the '90s to a power forward in the 2000s, it's vastly different. So it's never fair to do it, but nonetheless, we always do it, and we'll continue to do it for the end of time. It's just something fun to do, to kind of see.
Yeah.
But it leaves it open to debate. And even when I was doing this, I went back and forth and kind of went, no, this person should be high, this person should be lower. I could be convinced to move my list up and down anyway, but this is kind of where I ended up with, and I'm okay with this. But if I was pushed, if someone had a good argument, I could definitely move people up or down on the list with that. This is just from my opinion, from my bias, from my experience watching NBA games. So just outside of the top 10, I always do an honorable mention. Just outside the top 10, and I could make an argument to put this player in the top 10, but I did not have them in there, is Magic Johnson. I have him just outside. And again, it comes down to his legendary matchups with him and Bird, from college and then going into the NBA. Those two different conferences meeting in the finals over and over again. Larry definitely had the upper hand on that as far as rings go. And also Magic had a little more help. Not to say Larry didn't. He had a loaded Celtics roster as well. But they both had help. And Magic, I feel, had a lot of help on his end. He's still a great player. Like I said, he's still top 15 all time in my opinion. And I could make an argument to put him up there. But where I put him at was just outside the top 10. So starting at number 10 is Larry Bird. And I feel like, as you kind of alluded to, he was the Mamba mentality before it was a word. He was that confident. I don't know his work ethic, but he definitely get good trash talk with the best of them and back it up. And that was the thing is he would tell you what he was going to do and then go out there and do it. And his iconic winning a 3-point shot without taking up his warm-up jacket, the 3-point contest in the All-Star game. So he was just one of the purest shooters of all time. So in my opinion, he's in the top 10. Number 9 is Bill Russell. Again, we got the same people, but I have him lower on my list. And I think championships mean a lot, but they're not everything.
Yeah.
He was part of one of the greatest dynasties of all time, and he was a benefactor of that, winning 11 rings. But I don't think it makes him, the rings alone, make you the greatest player. If that was the case, you'd have a lot of random role players just have 5, 6, 7 rings, just kind of above some of these other greats. So it's good to have, and it means a lot that you got the job done, but it's not the only criteria that I use to determine who the best players are. Nevertheless, Bill Russell was a beast. He was great on that Celtics team, absolutely dominant. So he deserved to be in the top 10. So I have him at number 8. There should be number 9. Number 8, I have Shaquille O'Neal. As you mentioned, he one of the most dominant players. I grew up watching Shaq, and he was scary. He was so much bigger than, and not just bigger, but bigger and more athletic than anybody else in the NBA. The Jazz at the time did put up Greg Ostertag against him, and Greg Ostertag was a big guy, over 7 feet, bigger built, but Shaq was larger, but it also could jump. You don't realize how big a young Shaq, how high he could jump to block shots, and so many triple doubles with blocks as well. He was a true force. Like I said, he changed the game. The hack a Shaq rule came into it. Some illegal defense rules came with. They had to adjust because of how teams were trying to handle him. Like I said, you had to have 12 to 18 fouls ready to give to Shaq. Try to get him started from the line. So he was tough. Definitely changed the game. And in my opinion, he's number 8 all time. Number 7 is where we're different. Who I have on my list. I put Tim Duncan in there.
Yeah.
Greatest power forward of all time, and I don't say that easily. I'm a huge Utah Jazz fan. Carmelo is very near and dear to my heart. But Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward of all time. Yes, I don't put a lot of or a ton of stock in rings, but I do put some stock in rings. And he, I think he has 4 rings, fought through a Western Conference, a really tough Western Conference, where it felt like for years it could have been anybody's. But him and Tony Parker and Ginobili just kept getting there over and over again. He was so fundamentally sound. That's why he got the nickname Big Fundamental. Brought back the bank shot, the jump shot. He couldn't be rattled. You couldn't shake him. You couldn't trash talk him. You couldn't get in his head. He was just so good. A true competitor, and also great on the defensive end. He could rebound like crazy. Could block like crazy. Did everything he needed to do to win. I think if players would model themselves after Tim Duncan, they would be phenomenal post players. So he's in my list. Higher on my list than you had him, number 6, I have Steph Curry. I think he, as you mentioned, he also changed the game along with Shaq. I think in my era growing up, those are the 2 that changed the game more than anybody else. Everybody now wants to be Steph, but they all want to shoot that from half court and be able to drain it and not get yelled at by their coach. The problem is there's only one Steph. Even in the NBA, there's only one Steph. There's players that can have range, but under the clutch situation, with the speed of getting a shot off that he has, nobody is like Steph. I don't think we'll ever see another Steph. He is truly in the conversation for the greatest of all time in the top 10. Not just greatest point guard, but the greatest of all time at any position. So he's truly a game changer. Number 5 on my list was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Again, scoring dynamo, held the record for a long time. I know Carmelo wanted to chase it for a while, but decided that it was too far out of reach when he retired. I know LeBron passed him, but one thing I always keep in mind is Kareem played 4 years of college before he came to the NBA, where LeBron came out of high school, so he's younger to get a start on that. So it just goes to speak, and also I would be surprised if Kareem had any 3-point shots in his career. So all of his were 2s and from the free throw line to get to all the points that he had. So it's incredible to rack all that up over years, and the longevity he had. So I think he definitely deserves to be into top 5. So number 5 in my opinion. Number 4, I have Kobe Bryant. As you kind of mentioned before, he deserves to be in the top handful of people, and I totally agree. I do think a lot about a quote from Michael Jordan, where he was asked, "Who in the modern era do you think could beat you 1-on-1 in your prime?" And the only person he said was Kobe Bryant. And he said, not that Kobe's better, but because Kobe does everything I do. Like, he copies every one of my moves. And in a way, that's true. So that's why, in my opinion, Kobe can never be above Michael. Is because Michael was the original, and Kobe was kind of the clone of that. Not to say it wasn't good. Like Kobe, one thing we'll probably never see again is his work ethic. He was never satisfied. He was never good enough. He was always wanting to improve himself, and that is incredible. You don't see that a lot in professional sports, people that are that good that want to get better. Even when he was the top of the league, the best player in the league, undisputed at the time, he was still trying hard. Like, what else can I do? What else can I do? So many stories I heard about him, and as a Jazz fan, I hated watching him. I hated playing against him. He was so unstoppable. It was driving me nuts. But he truly changed the game as well. Number 3 on my list is Wilt Chamberlain, and I put him all the way up at number 3. I feel like he is very underappreciated, just because he did what he did so early in the league. I've heard people say that if you went back and you, because he got a lot of his stats before they kept some of the stats like they do now. They didn't keep track of blocks. They didn't keep track of steals. That he would lead in quadruple doubles in history, average over a quadruple double in one season with his blocks and everything.
Yeah.
He was just so tall. He was one of the first 7-footers ever in the league, and he was that. Not only that, he was extremely athletic. So not only was he tall, but he could jump and dunk and block and rebound. He was truly unstoppable. 100-point game. Yes, there's no video. That's how old he is. But there's enough eyewitnesses that it talked about it. Enough newspapers reported it. That I don't doubt its legitimacy at all. He was just such a stat monster. But as you mentioned, it seemed more about him than anything. To go about your comment, how he averaged 50 points and didn't win MVP. Back then, the MVP was decided among the NBA players. It was voted by the players. And he was not well liked, even among his own teams. He tended to be selfish and a little cocky and a little out there. So he was not a well liked person, and that's why he did not win MVP that year. But there's no questioning his dominance. How would he do in other areas? That's impossible to say. Where 7-footers, every team has 3 or 4 of them now. But back then, when he first came in, he was the giant that we had never seen, and he came in and he rewrote how to play the center. And some of his records will stand the test of time. The 50 points in a season, that's going to hold. The 100 points, I could see that falling, but it will be a while, and it's already held for a while. So, in my opinion, he's underrated in most people's lists, but he's number 3 on mine.
Yeah.
1 and 2 we have the same. So I have 2 at LeBron and number 1 at Jordan, but they are so neck and neck.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And as I went back and forth on this one, I think part of both my bias and I think everyone's bias is we look at, first off, not only the rings, the finals, and that's what people give Jordan the edge, but also I think we tend to forget Michael Jordan of the Wizards, where he kind of disappeared. You know, when he did his second comeback, he was kind of just mediocre. You know, he was. You say, well, he was old at that time. Like, how old is LeBron now?
Yeah.
And what is LeBron doing it older than Jordan ever was in the league? You know.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is we're just so used to LeBron being so good for so long that we don't appreciate what he's doing. And this may be something where it takes retirement and reflection to look back on the whole of a career before we really decide, you know, how good was LeBron versus Michael. And I'm not saying that there's an answer for who's 1, who's 2. Like I said, I have Michael number 1 and LeBron number 2. And that's just because, as a Jazz fan, I had to watch Michael take us apart twice. And I was a very passionate, young, illogical Jazz fan. And be like, you know, I would look back at calls that were missed and things like that. And then someone said, you know, I'd say, hey, this was called a shot clock violation. It should have counted, and this one shouldn't have, and that's a 6-point swing. And someone just said, well, Jordan just would have found a way to score 6 more points. That's all that means. Yeah. So, and Mike, that's very true. There was no answer for him. He was so unstoppable, and his fire, his will to win was truly unstoppable. I mean, there was nothing you could do. And if you wanted to score, if you wanted to rebound, if you wanted to steal, like, he would just do it. And there's nothing you could do to prevent it. So he was incredible. Excuse me. LeBron is great as well, and he'll be, like I said, 1A, 1B. It's impossible to tell who is the greatest, but his longevity, his career, I think, is the best career of all time.
Absolutely.
And probably will stand the test of time for a while. That no one's going to touch the career he had. If LeBron goes to another team and wins a championship, first off, he's won championships with 3 different teams now, as the the number one option on 3 different teams. No one's ever done that, but to do it for a fourth team would be incredible. And just what he's doing at his age is great. And what I love probably most about anything about LeBron is nothing to do with on the court. He's had zero off the court issues. He knew from an early age, I'm talking like high school, junior high, that he was going to be a superstar. And he kept his nose clean. He's kept his family together. He's done nothing but represent his cities well. The only criticism you can give to him is on the court, his basketball record. But off the court, been a stand-up guy. So that's why I'm a huge LeBron fan. But at the end of the day, Michael's number one, but just by a hair right now.
Yeah.
So that's my list.
Absolutely. I see. Like you said, the honorable mention is Tim Duncan was 11. Like, he was so close to the list, but I was like, it's Curry, Shaq, or Duncan for me. And honestly, two of them changed the game. One didn't really change the game in the ways, but yeah, Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward of all time. But I'd say, especially today in the modern NBA, I mean, how many power forwards can you name? Right? Like, there's no, like, power forward is kind of a thing of the past, right?
Yeah.
So they kind of outlawed it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Tim Duncan is right there, and yeah, I mean, Will Chamberlain too. Like, it just, for me, maybe I just weigh the championships a little more, but yeah, I mean, just his I feel like his lack of success really held him back.
With Will, I could put him anywhere from number 3 to number 12, and be happy with that. There's justification for it. It's just so impossible to tell where he lies. But I put him on number 3 just because I feel he's underappreciated.
Absolutely, yeah.
With all the stats he put up, he's underappreciated.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
Yeah. To me, what I thought was crazy is Magic Johnson outside. For me, a top
I know, and I feel bad doing it. And I even debated, like, does Larry deserve to be in there over Magic?
Yeah.
Because those two are almost, again, like 1A, 1B. They're so neck and neck.
Yeah.
I just put Larry because I feel like he put more fear in people's eyes than Magic did.
Absolutely.
Like, the Showtime Lakers as a whole did, but individuals, people hated playing against Larry. And maybe it's his talking, maybe it's that. But that's what gave Larry the edge in my book.
Absolutely, yeah. Now it was coming up guard. I'm like I just thought top 10 is Magic Johnson over
outside the top 10.
So that just caught me off guard a little bit. But yeah, Magic is, like I said earlier, Curry I think is the best point guard of all time. But overall player, Magic Johnson's just higher because he just was more, because he was like 6'9", he was able to do more on the court and other positions. Like, he honestly really could have played the 1 through 5. So he was LeBron James. LeBron James is so versatile. And again, like the longevity, like those players really play any position, do it all. But yeah, honestly, yeah, maybe I would have put those two a little lower because those two also had like longevity issues. Like Larry Bird played 10 years in the NBA, which is not a long time. Magic had to cut his career short because he got, he had to cut his career short because of some stuff. But yeah, that just kind of got a little bit putting those like him just inside top 10.
It's always a debate. Someone's gotta be left out.
Someone's gotta go. Yeah, so that's why like Tim Duncan would just decide for me. But yeah, I mean, that was interesting. But yeah, thanks for watching. This was really fun. I really enjoyed making this, and I've had a stripped out plan for a couple weeks now, just like thinking about it, kind of cooking up some stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's such like a debate, especially like 1 and 2. Like, again, it's not even 1 and 2. It's 1A, 1B. Like, they're so neck and neck. And but yeah, it's really interesting to kind of see this in all these perspectives. So yeah, those are our top 10 of all time. Next episode, we're gonna do our top 5 most favorite Jazz players from 2 diehard Jazz fans. It's gonna be fun. Okay. So yeah, top 5 favorite Jazz players. Yeah, that was our top 10 list. Thanks again for listening. This was really fun making this, and I really enjoyed preparing this top 10 list. Next episode, we're gonna do our top 5 favorite Jazz players of all time. It's gonna be pretty fun. I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it. And thanks again for listening. To this episode.